You have your CELTA and a solid few years of teaching experience under your belt, but you've likely hit a wall. You are still paid by the hour, jumping between different language centers, and your salary is capped by the sheer number of classes you can physically teach in a week. To break out of that hourly grind, the industry standard solution is the Cambridge Delta. This is a level 7 qualification. In the UK framework, that places it at the exact same academic tier as a master's degree, broken down into 3 distinct modules. But obtaining it requires surviving a notoriously heavy workload and an upfront cost of over £2,000. Before committing that kind of time and money, we have to run a strict return on investment analysis. We need to determine if this diploma acts as a necessary career multiplier or if it's simply an expensive path to teacher burnout.
To understand the delta's value, we can map the TEFL qualification landscape across 2 metrics: financial and time cost versus actual career progression power. Down in the bottom left, you have entry-level TEFL certificates. Low cost, low effort, but they won't advance your career. The CELTA sits right in the middle as a moderate investment for standard classroom roles. At the top are an MA in TESOL and the Delta. A master's carries a heavy price tag, but the Delta holds more weight for internal school promotions. Because the Delta occupies this specific zone of maximum career leverage for less cash than a master's, the return on investment hinges entirely on your ability to survive the inputs required to pass its 3 modules. Module 1 focuses on the theoretical foundation of English language teaching. Let's look at the required inputs. You will read heavily. The syllabus demands deep dives into applied linguistics, the history of teaching methodologies, and second language acquisition theory. This document outlines the assessment specifications. You are tested via a grueling 3.5-hour written examination, split across 2 papers, where you must fight for a total of 200 marks. The trade-off here is immediate practicality. You will spend hours committing abstract phonological terms to memory, and very little will directly help you manage a chaotic classroom of teenagers the next morning. But the outcome of that memorization is a profound structural understanding of the English language. You learn exactly why the language operates the way it does. Module 1 cements your pedagogical authority. Module 2 is the practical crucible. This is where you aggressively apply that theory to real-time teaching. The coursework is massive. You will produce a heavily researched portfolio, including multiple background essays and a dedicated 2,500-word professional development assignment. But the core performance metric is live teaching. You must design and deliver 4 45 to 60-minute lessons, culminating in a final lesson externally assessed by a Cambridge examiner. The physical and mental trade-off here is severe. Attempting this volume of research while maintaining a 30-hour teaching week creates extreme stress.
To survive, many candidates have to purposefully reduce their teaching hours. You trade short-term income for the time needed to complete the coursework. The outcome of that pressure is a permanent shift in how you build lessons. You learn to dissect learner needs and execute highly structured, objective-driven sessions. Module 2 is the most painful bottleneck of the diploma, but it is the point where you replace classroom intuition with a repeatable, high-level teaching architecture. Module 3 is the specialization phase. The primary input here is a massive 4,500-word independent research assignment. You choose one of 2 distinct pathways. Option 1 lets you design a syllabus for a specific teaching niche, like business English or young learners. Option 2 focuses entirely on ELT management and analyzing a school's operational situation. The unique trade-off for this module is the lack of a daily safety net. It is entirely self-directed.
If your time management is poor, you will easily stall out without a tutor setting strict weekly deadlines. Once you factor in the time required for all 3 modules, we have to look at the hard financial reality of the Delta. You are looking at an upfront investment of over £2,000. That covers the course tuition plus the mandatory assessment fees paid directly to Cambridge. You trade that initial cash hit for the credentials required for senior salaried roles, the kind needed to transition into teacher training or full-time academic management. The brutal financial and workload inputs of the Delta only make mathematical sense if you plan to stay in the ELT industry long enough to actually reap those salary rewards. The Cambridge Delta acts as a rigorous professional filter. It is designed to separate career educators from transient teachers.
To figure out your exact next step, you need to answer one question. What is your ELT timeline? Let's look at the first profile, the transient teacher. If you plan to travel for a bit and leave the ELT industry within 1 to 3 years, stop right here. The immense financial cost and the stress of the modules will yield a negative return on investment for you. Stick with your CELTA and enjoy your time in the classroom. The second profile is the classroom optimizer. You are a dedicated teacher who wants to achieve mastery, but you have absolutely no desire to deal with school management. Taking Module 1 or Module 2 independently is a great move here. It cures imposter syndrome and elevates your daily teaching practice without forcing you into the full diploma commitment. Finally, we have the career advancer. Your goal is to become a director of studies, a Cambridge assessor, or a curriculum designer. For you, completing all 3 modules is an unavoidable requirement. You need the full diploma to remove your career ceiling. Ultimately, the Cambridge Delta is only worth the investment when the pain of staying trapped at your current career plateau finally outweighs the pain of the diploma's brutal workload.